areas of technology spend across industries. We believe that by 2025, more than 50% of technology spending in the IT services being amongst the first to unlock this potential. We have strategically partnered with top hyperscalers and are well positioned to leverage growth opportunities in this space. Another unique differentiation is our product and service diversification strategy to tap a large total addressable market. Today, our products and platforms business is not just a profitable and cash-generating portfolio, but also a door opener in net new clients in mature as well as new geographies and verticals. This sustained performance has been made possible by our people, who are at the core of our strategy. Our team of diligent, diverse, and passionate 210,000 plus ideapreneurs across 52 countries. Our philosophy of empowering our people, as well as diversifying our talent pipeline, has put our strategies continues to focus on building the workplace of tomorrow, which promotes an equitable, collaborative, and transparent culture and supports the learning and development needs of its people. Our distinctive people practices continue to win accolades across the globe. We were featured in Forbes' 2021 list of the world's best employers for the second consecutive year. We're the top-ranked company globally in the professional services sector and one of the only 5 India-headquartered multinationals across all sectors. We are recognized as a top employer in 17 countries. The leading analyst group, Avasant, has ranked us a leader in its Digital Talent Capability 2021 Radar View. We stay deeply committed, and we are now a part of the European Diversity Charter chapter and included in the Bloomberg Gender Equality Index. We continue to invest aggressively in scaling our advanced capabilities and prioritizing growth in strategic areas. And we do this with a sense of purpose and responsibility toward our stakeholders and communities. As you are aware, a key priority for HCL Technologies is to integrate sustainability and corporate social responsibility into our business models and decision-making, while sharpening our environmental, social, and governance ESG focus with a board subcommittee. The company has embraced an overarching sustainability framework built around the tenets of Act, Pact, Impact. Act. We understand that impact starts with us. We act in the most responsible and sustainable manner. We ensure we use every resource efficiently to maximize value. Pact. Our relationships go beyond a formal contract with our stakeholders. We are working for a sustainable future in collaboration with our clients, partners, communities, and all stakeholders. Impact. We focus on creating sustainable impact through all our initiatives and activities. We have identified 12 material ESG topics and are tracking over 100 metrics to drive sustainability across the organization. The company has committed to achieving net zero carbon by 2040, joining a select group of public companies globally that have committed to net zero carbon emission targets. Our 2030 sub-targets have been validated by the Science Based Targets Initiatives, SBTi, and aligned with the 1.5 degrees pathway. We are deeply aware of the impact businesses can deliver in elevating communities globally and continue to strengthen our efforts in India and other geographies where we operate. In recognition of these efforts, HCL Technologies received the prestigious Corporate Citizen of the Year Award in 2021 from the Economic Times for championing social change and good governance. In India, with a cumulative investment of more than 900 crores INR, HCL Foundation has impacted more than 3.7 million lives across 22 states and 3 union territories. Today, the HCL Foundation drives 5 flagship programs. HCL Samuday for integrated rural development, HCL Grant to empower non-profits for community-led rural upliftment, HCL Uday to address development issues in urban areas, Clean Noida to transform Noida into one of the cleanest cities in India, and HCL Harit for environmental action. Various other initiatives are also being undertaken by the HCL Foundation in India. These include Power of One, Sports for Change, the HCL Foundation Academy, My eHeart. It gives me great pleasure to share that Jerlyn Anika, an 18-year-old HCL Tech sports scholar, won gold for India in badminton at the recent Deaf Olympics in Brazil. There are many more inspiring stories like Jerlyn's. As a global technology company, HCL Technologies continues to broaden its community engagements beyond India through partnerships and own initiatives, including employee volunteering. Some of the major initiatives included partnering with European Food Bank Federation and other NGOs to support those impacted by the Ukraine crisis. In the United States, we have identified 3 focus areas: education, environment, and health, and made a long-term commitment to addressing food insecurity. HCL Technologies partnered with Feeding America during National Volunteer Month to provide almost 1.7 million meals to those in need. The digital future is an exciting one and will throw up limitless opportunities to innovate. HCL Technologies is accelerating the creation and application of tomorrow's technologies today. Together with our clients and partners, we are developing game-changing solutions for a better world. Our growth strategy for this emerging digital future is built on 5 strategic objectives. The first and foremost strategic objective is leadership through differentiated services and products. We constantly look to innovate our service and product portfolio so that we can deliver differentiated value to our clients to support their digital transformation big in the market. The second is being an employer of choice in professional services across all key geographies. Our people are the biggest enablers of our ability to deliver differentiated solutions to our clients. HCL takes pride in being an employer of choice for multi-generational talent in our chosen countries. We are deeply focused on strengthening our people leadership and continue being a magnet for top talent across the world. The third strategic objective is to be the preferred digital partner for Global 2000 enterprises in chosen markets. 70% of the global technology spend comes from the Global 2000 enterprises. Our objective is to be a strategic partner for these large clients and deepen our relationship with them. The fourth is to weave ESG goals into business strategy. At HCL, we are not only looking at ESG in isolation and want to weave this into our business strategy. It's about the solutions that we can offer to our clients. It's about localizing. It's about how we can be purposefully contributing to the communities that we operate in. The fifth and last strategic objective for us is to deliver superior total shareholder return over the medium term. Over the last 10 years, HCL Technologies delivered the highest TSR among Tier 1 Indian service providers. This is something we are very proud of. HCL Technologies continues to have great momentum, reflected in the healthy growth in bookings and pipeline across our various businesses. We continue to maintain leadership position in most of the recent analyst rankings and recognitions across key areas such as public cloud IT transformation, digital engineering, and digital workplace services. As we look towards the future, we are well positioned to address the large and growing target addressable market for services and products across all chosen geographies and verticals. Your company is confident and determined to increase its market share. We are also committed to improving our efforts to learn, build, grow, and work to benefit people and the planet. Our founder and Chairman Emeritus, Mr. Shiv Nada's vision and leadership continue to inspire us to pursue our growth strategy. It gives me immense pleasure to share that Mr. Shiv Nada was felicitated by the US-India Business Council with the 2021 Global Leadership Award. He was also named Philanthropist of the Year 2021 by the Indo-French Chamber of Commerce and Industry and honored with the Eminent Engineer Award 2021 by the Engineering Council of India for his pioneering role in the field of engineering, business, and philanthropy. The board of directors of your company is amongst the most diverse, with more than 30% women directors and 60% directors, and continues to steer our growth strategy in these challenging times. On behalf of the board, I would like to thank all of our stakeholders, including shareholders, employees, clients, and governments of the countries we operate in, for their unwavering support and encouragement. Thank you. Now, I would like to brief you about the two resolutions which are required to be approved today. There are two resolutions in the notice to be approved by the shareholders at this annual general meeting. The first resolution is regarding the consideration and adoption of the audited financial statements, including audited consolidated financial statements of the company for the financial year ended March 31st, 2022, together with the reports of the boards of the directors and of auditors thereon. The second resolution is relating to my reappointment as a director, liable to retire by rotation. We now move to the question-answer session with the shareholders who have registered themselves as speakers with the company for raising their queries or share their views on any item of the AGM notice. Before we commence this session, I will request Manish Anand, our company secretary, to share a few guidelines for the Q&A session. Over to you, Manish.
Thank you, Roshni. I will quickly share certain norms to the shareholders for the Q&A session. The Q&A session will be anchored by the moderator, who will call the pre-registered speakers to come up one by one. The speaker shareholders are requested to unmute their microphone before speaking and enable their webcam if they wish to appear on the video. Shareholders, please note that your participation through video conferencing is being recorded. In the interest of time, kindly restrict your comment or query to not more than 2 minutes. It may be noted that the company reserves the right to limit the number of shareholders asking questions depending upon the availability of time. To avoid repetition, the response to the queries raised by the shareholders will be provided once all the speaker shareholders have been heard. If any shareholders' queries or questions remain unanswered due to paucity of time, such shareholders may write their designated email ID at hcl.com and we will send our response via email. I would now request the moderator to invite the speaker shareholders. Thank you. Over to you, moderator.
Thank you, Manish. The first speaker shareholder is Mr. Yashpal Chopra, joining us from Delhi.
Honorable Chairperson, I am Yashpal Chopra calling from Delhi, an old shareholder of the company for the last more than 2 decades. I must congratulate you and your team for the grand performance of the company. I say it grand because the performance was hardly for around 6 to 7 months, because the first 3 months of the financial year were impacted by COVID, and the last 3 months was affected by those Ukrainian-Russian war, and that disrupted our supply chain. So, in spite of that, the performance is excellent because there is an all-round growth in revenue, PBT, POT, ROC, EPS, and even our dividend declaration. We are very much proud of the company being investor-friendly. But as investor-friendly, I have just a request that the company is holding is a big general reserve fund. So out of that, the company should now think of, the time has come when they have to think of liberal bonus for the shareholders. So I would request our chairperson to consider that thing. So now my query is, though I know that the current year performance will be excellent, but because now both the pandemic are going to die their own death, but still I would like it to be confirmed by the management that I am correct. Is the life of the of any company, so I feel that they should just explore addition and diversification also there. But before I wind up, I must thank our corporate governance for getting me a chance to speak. I pray God to bestow positivity on you all, so that the positivity means the strength of the company.
Thank you, Mr. Chopra. The next speaker shareholder is Mr. Tony Bhatia, joining us from Faridabad, Haryana. Mr. Bhatia, you may please ask your question.
Okay. मैम मेरी आवाज आ रही है ना?
Yes,
मैम मेरी आवाज आ रही है? अच्छा, okay, madam. Thank you. Respected chairperson, eminent board of directors, and my co-friends shareholders. First of all, chairperson, you gave us such a beautiful speech. You gave us. उसमें आपने काफी कुछ बताया. Such a marvelous speech you gave us regarding performance. There is no doubt there is a all-round progress in the company. Revenue from operations 85,651 crores, profit after tax 13,499 crores, diluted EPS 49.8. Such a marvelous results, ma'am, you gave us. Corporate governance, you have shown this credit goes to CFO and our company secretary. CSR एक्टिविटीज पे भी आपने काफी ध्यान दिया, इसकी भी मैं तारीफ करूंगा. हमारी कंपनी को कई अवार्ड्स वगैरह मिले, इसके लिए मैम मैं आपका, पूरे बोर्ड का और सभी एम्प्लॉइज का आभारी हूँ. उनकी वजह से ये अवार्ड्स वगैरह का क्रेडिट जाता है. बाकी रेजोल्यूशन नंबर 2, यस, रेजोल्यूशन नंबर 2, इन दिस रिगार्ड आई विल से आई एम स्ट्रांगली गोइंग टू सपोर्ट. Under her leadership, company is doing well. With these words, seconded the balance sheet. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bhatia. Shareholder is Mr. Vimal Jain, joining us from Delhi.
Hello. Am I audible? Okay. Good morning to the chairperson and board of directors and my fellow shareholders attending the e-meeting. Congratulations to the management and all the staff employees for providing the excellent results in the financial statements of the annual report, as I have full faith in the management. Most of the points have been covered in the chairperson's speech, but I would like to note that in this improved scenario in IT sector after the pandemic, how will you reward the shareholder in financial year 23? Shall we expect a bonus issue? Secondly, what step has the board taken to monitor that shareholders' interests are being protected? Thank you very much to the secretarial department for allowing me to put up my points in the meeting, and hope the management will continue to hold the AGM through VC in future also, which enables the shareholders like me to interact with the management residing faraway places. Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you, Mr. Jain. The next speaker shareholder is Mr. Shripal Singh Monot, joining us from Gurugram, Haryana.
हाँ नमस्कार जी, आप सुन पा रहे हैं मेरे को?
हाँ जी श्रीपाल जी, आप अपना वीडियो ऑन करना हाँ जी श्रीपाल जी, आपकी आवाज आ रही है हमें.
मैं श्रीपाल सिंह मोनोद गुरुग्राम हरियाणा से बोल रहा हूं. आप सबको सादर प्रणाम, सादर नमस्कार. आदरणीय चेयरपर्सन साहिबा, आपके डायरेक्शन में कंपनी ने अमूल्य 30 सालों में बहुत अच्छी तरक्की की है. इसके लिए मैं आपको व आपके पूरे बोर्ड को बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं. आप भारत के प्रधानमंत्री जी का सपना डिजिटल इंडिया बनाने में बड़ा योगदान कर रहे हैं. कंपनी का प्रगति में आपका योगदान अमूल्य है. आपके अच्छे शासन व प्रशासन की वजह से कंपनी निरंतर प्रगति के पथ पर अग्रसर है. हमारे राजस्थान में एक कहावत है, मांगन मिले ना भी बिन मांगे मोती मिले. आपने इस कहावत को फलीभूत किया है, इसके लिए मैं आपका सबका आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। आपने शेयर होल्डर को इतना दिया, कभी मांगने की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ती है, कभी मांगने की जरूरत नहीं पड़ती। आने वाले सालों में कंपनी के विस्तार की योजना बताएं, इसके लिए पूंजी की व्यवस्था कैसे करेंगे। आपके सीएफओ साहब व कंपनी सेक्रेटरी साहब बहुत अच्छा काम कर रहे हैं, समय पर बैलेंस शीट व नोटिस मिल गया है। कंपनी सेक्रेटरी साहब तथा उनके सहयोगी ने अपना अमूल्य समय निकालकर हमारा मार्गदर्शन किया है, उसका मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
Thank you, Mr. Shripal. As there are no other registered speaker shareholders, I would like to hand over the proceedings back to the chairperson.
Thank you all speaker shareholders. We will now check and collate if any queries have been raised by the shareholders on the live chat. I now request the moderator to play a video, after which we will provide our responses to the queries raised by the shareholders. Short video to be played, please.
HCL Foundation was established in 2011 as the CSR arm of HCL, with an aim to bring positive impact in the lives of underprivileged communities, both in urban and rural India. HCL Foundation started working in the field of education, health and hygiene, water, sanitation, early childhood care and development, livelihood, environment, and disaster risk reduction. Understanding the magnitude of its vision, HCL Foundation brought all the like-minded stakeholders like government authorities, corporates, civil society organizations, NGO partners, and HCL volunteers under one umbrella as a robust convergence model towards achieving the common goal.
The impact has begun to now, clearly come out, and that happened only because of the kind of partnerships that HCL Foundation has been able to establish over these years. I would say it's not the traditional partnerships where there is a donor and there is a donee, but most importantly the partnerships with communities themselves, where communities are seen as equals and maybe more.
CSR investment in India is on a constant rise. HCL Foundation has transformed millions of lives
through its flagship programs like HCL Samuday, HCL Grant, HCL Uday, Clean Noida, HCL Harit, and special initiatives including Power of One, Sports for Change, HCL Foundation Academy, and My eHeart.
This partnership journey that began with just 25 members today is a proud family of
over 200 partners.
Last 5 years have been fast-paced growth, which has taken footprints to more than 20 states in India, which has taken the beneficiaries' number to 3.7 million of cumulative numbers. And that is only possible because of such a dedicated and committed team at HCL Foundation and its fabulously aligned partners.
I'm so excited to be here. We're so proud of all the children who are participating. More than sports, they're going to learn a lot of life skills. They learn about competition, about winning, about losing, about working in teams, about emotions. And I hope the sports for change grows with every year.
Sports for Change by HCL Foundation is a very unique initiative where we promote grassroots level sport. We go to the remotest communities in rural and urban areas. We identify the talent through various physical education activities, exposing them to the Olympic sports, and then we provide them a full holistic support under which there is nutrition, there is coaching, there is mental health support, there is counseling, state-of-the-art facilities. They are brought to and they are prepared to be mainstreamed in the national level and international level. This is predominantly a grassroots sports program where we go to the most isolated kind of communities, or as we call them, communities which are not mainstream communities. We see a lot of power in sports in terms of the transformation that it can bring about. We see sports as a part of education, holistic education, and we also consider that all students, all children have right to play.
So we started Sports for Change in a very small school with 15 girls who was interested to play soccer. From 15, it has grown up to 16,000 students across India where HCL Foundation is working. We are working for more than 18 sports currently, and you can see this competition which is happening currently, where we have had more than 6,000 students participated, and the best of the lot, 650 kids, is representing their states in this competition. We are having 11 states who's part of this competition this year, starting from Nagaland, Jammu and Kashmir, Rajasthan, and all the locations of South India also.
For HCL Foundation, sports is not just about playing national and international championships and winning those medals. It's a huge skill development program where they learn soft skills, they learn hard skills, they learn teamwork. They also learn to win and face the win, but they also learn that if we fail, we can always come back, we can always bounce back.
Apart from the queries raised by the speaker shareholders, we have also received queries through email and live chat, which we would now respond to. There are a set of questions that I will take, and then I will pass it on to Mr. C. Vijay Kumar, our CEO, who will answer the next set of questions, and then to Mr. Prateek Agarwal, our CFO, who will further answer the remaining questions. The first question that I received from the shareholders is, what are some of the challenges and opportunities that there are uncertainties in the global macro environment like hyperinflation, slowing GDP growth, geopolitical conflicts, and these continue to be challenges. In terms of opportunities, customers' preference to embrace technology and digital programs to drive their own business growth and their cost reduction initiatives are the key positives and opportunities for HCL. How do you judge the present economic environment and growth opportunities? We remain vigilant and watchful of current business and global economic environment. Our portfolio is fairly diversified in terms of run the business and change the business. and we take opportunities and advantages of any possible scenarios of economic downturns or upticks. What is your long-term vision of the company? Where do you see HCL in the next 5 to 7 years? Are you doing anything different to make our company more agile, growth-oriented, and future-ready? Our long-term vision is to be one of the fastest-growing and responsible technology companies globally. We have differentiated services and products, and we want to be the number one digital service provider of choice for customers. We would also like to be the employer of choice in talent markets across the world, and to do this while generating the best-in-class total shareholder return. All of our efforts are directed towards achieving these goals. Does the company support differently abled persons as part of its CSR activities? Yes. The CSR activities of the company, which are under the HCL Foundation, include supporting differently abled persons, and substantial amount in this regard is budgeted as part of the company's annual CSR budget. In fact, in my AGM speech, I did mention Jerlyn Anika, our HCL Tech Sports for Change scholar. She won 3 golds at the Deaf Olympics in Brazil this year, and we're extremely proud of that, and there are many more inspirational stories. There was a question by a couple of shareholders on bonus shares. This is something that the board will deliberate. And there was also a further question on future AGMs being remote and in this format. We will follow what the government states as permissible and do the same. I will now like to pass it on to Mr. C. Vijay Kumar to answer your specific questions related to company performance and the competitive environment. CVK?
Yeah. Thank you, Roshni. I have a few questions from the shareholders. One question is, our growth has been on the slower side in the last few quarters compared to our peers. How can we get back to the top quartile of growth as we have seen in the past? Also, our deal wins have been strong recently. Why is it not reflected in the growth numbers? Any long-term 5 to 7 year growth targets? I will answer this one by one. First, our TCV wins have been very impressive. We closed FY22 with a total contract value of 8.3, growth of 14% over FY21. The deals typically take 3 to 9 months to reflect in revenue. So the deals won in the later half of FY21 translated into robust revenue growth, as you can see from the second quarter of FY22. If you look at the growth reported by HCL Technologies in the services business during FY22, we reported 3 consecutive quarters of 5% plus growth in services in constant currency from Q2 to Q4 of FY22. On the YOY basis also, the growth has been quite good. In terms of long-term growth, we generally provide revenue outlook on an annual basis. For FY23, we provided a revenue growth guidance of 12 to 14%. In constant currency. The next question is, we thank the management for not making any big acquisitions in the recent bull market in the IT sector, where majority of the IT companies have made big acquisitions. Now with valuations becoming more reasonable, do we have any plans for a big acquisition? If yes, which geographies do we prefer? Overall, the demand environment is very robust, and we see a lot of opportunities in the market to grow the business organically. And we have decided to largely focus on organic growth. On future acquisitions, if any, it will be on 3 areas. One could be to bolster our geographic presence in some focused geographies like Germany, France, Japan, that have a higher IT spend intensity, and our presence is lower than what the IT spend intensity is. We would also look at some select capabilities that can strengthen our positioning on the digital side. We could look at select high growth small product acquisitions that would enrich our existing portfolio. And as of now, we have no plans for any large sized acquisition. There was another question. Are we able to pass on increase in cost to our clients? If not, then why? Due to excess competition, or if we are doing differentiated work for our clients, pricing shouldn't be an issue. We have initiated an exercise a few months ago to get incremental bill rates from our customers. The customers in general have responded positively, though the whole process takes some time to conclude and translate to the P&L. And wherever possible, we have cost of living adjustments in our contracts. We are negotiating that as well with our customers. All the new deals, we have increased the prices. However, for the old deals, since they are long-term contracts, it's really a mutual discussion with customers to see if we can get a better pricing. However, the industry continues to be quite competitive, and that does prevent price increases that is from customers. There was another question on our PNP business where we had mentioned that it's more like a startup. So what is the upside to our PNP business over the next 3 to 5 years? And what are the major risks? In the PNP business, we expect to leverage the huge installed base. We have about 6,800 global clients, of which 241 are G500 clients and 540 G2000 clients. And we have a global footprint in 132 countries. So our endeavor will be to explore cross-selling, upselling to this client base, both our products and services. In fact, in FY22, we're already seeing some early successes in this. We've also announced a number of product risks. There was a question on what are the risks. I think a couple of key risks in this business is the inherent seasonality of the business and the continued product innovations. To mitigate this risk, we have also gradually changing our model from a perpetual licensing to more subscription and more annuity-based revenue models. And we are very focused on product innovation to be relevant and differentiated to our customers. Another question is this a 2008 moment for IT companies? All company CEOs are bullish on revenue growth and deal wins, whereas most analysts say IT companies cannot see beyond 2 quarters. Are we reasonably confident of our growth and deal wins beyond a few quarters and years? I believe that the market opportunity will be very robust for the next 2 to 3 years. And our portfolio is very well diversified to take advantage of all the addressable opportunities, whether it is a market which is growing or where there is a little bit of economic pressure. So we will continue to lead in digital propositions, digital engineering, cloud, and overall IT outsourcing propositions. The next question is, what is the uppermost strategic priority for the remaining period in the fiscal year? I think we are in a fairly tight market environment in terms of the costs and the wage inflation. So we will remain very focused on achieving the revenue and the margin guidance that we have provided to the market. Robust cash generation will also be another key focus area. Of course, all of this is going to happen by our continued emphasis on people and our clients, which will make our ability to meet our goals possible. There's one more question. Are inflation and depreciating rupee a concern for our company? How are you looking at adapting to these situations? Yes, the increasing inflation obviously results in wage increases. So is an important metric that we keep track of. We do have some protections in our contracts for cost of living adjustments in long-term contracts. We are trying to exercise that. And as a general statement, depreciating rupee on a standalone basis is positive for our profitability. Another question is, what steps are you taking to reduce costs to improve profitability? There are many steps we've taken, like increasing the freshers. We've had traditionally a slightly lower percentage of freshers. Now we are increasing. There are a few levers to improve the utilization. There is a little more offshoring and then getting better realization from customers. And also focusing on more high-value services. These are the few things that we are looking at. Are there any impact due to geopolitical tensions around the globe? Right now, we have very little business which is in the areas where we have geopolitical stress. So we do not see any impact, any significant impact on our business. With that, I will pass it on to Pratik for a few more questions on the financial topics.
Thank you, CVK. I think the first question that I have is a little bit of a repetition. It talks about our EBIT margins have been disappointing in the last few quarters. Have our margins bottomed out? Could our EBIT margins be comfortably above 20-22% in 3 to 5 years time frame? Our margin performance has been impacted by a slew of factors relating to the supply side constraints, steep increase in salaries, elevated attrition rates, and management of attrition in terms of higher retention costs, out of cycle wage increases, etc. These factors are impacting the entire IT sector, and HCL is not the only isolated company being affected. In view of the supply side factors continuing to be of concern, we lowered our margin guidance for FY23 to a range between 18 to 20%. And we further sort of qualified it at the end of Q1 to be at the lower end of the guided range for the full financial year. On a medium-term basis, we are depending on factors like increased fresher intakes, their training and deployment and billing, and the resultant pyramid optimization, price realization improvements, which CVK talked about as well, improved utilization of manpower, and increase in offshore mix as the most potent levers to improve the margins going forward, apart from others. The next question is about most of our shareholders. We have said in the past that most of our shareholders prefer dividends over buybacks. But buyback at an attractive valuation creates more value for the shareholders than the dividend, is the feeling of this particular shareholder. So is there a certain valuation or price below which we would prefer buyback over paying dividends? In answer, dividends and buybacks are both considered acceptable ways of returning cash to the shareholders. Based on our capitalization table and current taxation rates for various types of shareholders, dividends do work out more optimal in terms of net receipt post-tax in the hands of the shareholders at a total level of our shareholder base. Dividends are also more consistent because we give it every quarter, and uniform because it goes to all shareholders in the same pari passu. So they are both more consistent and uniform in terms of rewarding the shareholders. So I think we continue to favor dividends over buybacks. The next question is, in the next 2 years, our free cash flow would be higher than our profit due to some non-cash charges. Can we have a payout policy on FCF rather than profits going ahead? What steps has the company taken to protect the interest of the shareholders? I think one of the speaker shareholders also asked similar question. In answer, we have already proposed the payout policy to pay a minimum of 75% of the net income to shareholders over the next 5 years. So FY22 to FY block of 5 years, and we are going to maintain the same. The number will not be too different for FCF, so we don't feel the need to do anything, make any changes. The next question is, how has the company strengthened competitiveness relating to its presence in industry spaces, margins, and the strength of its balance sheet? I think we've talked about the competitiveness in and the margins. So, respect to strengthening of the balance sheet over the past year, we have focused on making our balance sheet as asset light as possible, and hopefully you would have seen that, helping us in the deployment of capital in business and improving the return on invested capital. We have proactively taken steps and continue to do the same to replace high cost debt with low cost debt. The last question I have is on the any significant bad debts, and what is the net debtors position of the company in comparison to the last fiscal year. In answer, there is no significant change in the bad debts or provided bad debts, and the number in FY22 at the end of the year was 440 on a total debtor base of 15,839 crores. And this number was actually slightly lower compared to the previous year when it was 476 crores. So it came down by about 30 crores. While the base of last year was 14,077. So in percentage terms, the drop was even higher. There was a question which came in over the chat. CVK, I think you wanted to address this. I'll read out the question and maybe you can help address it. HCLT has been regularly giving good dividends, which is much appreciated by shareholders. However, the gap in PE ratios of HCLT and other top majors, TCS and Infosys, has increased. Are there any plans to bridge the gap, which will definitely improve the share price, which seems to be lagging these in percentage increase over the year?
Yeah. So while there are a lot of similarities between the top companies, there are also significant dissimilarities in terms of the portfolio of the business and the focus areas. So as a team, we believe there are two important things that we need to focus on to improve our multiples. One is to deliver industry-leading organic growth, and that is what we are exclusively focused on. We have de-emphasized some of the inorganic bits and are continuously focusing on building organic capabilities and delivering superior organic growth. And the second aspect that we are focused on is also to be more capital efficient, to deliver a better return on invested capital on an ongoing basis. Since we have done some acquisitions, some of the return ratios are deteriorated, but with a consistent approach to doing the business in an asset-light manner, we are gradually seeing the return metrics improving. And we have also taken a strategic bet in terms of products and platforms. And once we did this important decision, definitely our PE ratios deteriorated. But we strongly believe in it to be a very good long-term bet. So you wait for the strategy to play out. which we are very, very diligently executing. I think with all these steps, I do think over a period of time, the gaps should bridge.
Thank you, CVK. Thank you, Prateek. This completes the Q&A session. I will now move on to the e-voting. Shareholders may please note that there will be no voting by show of hands. The instructions for e-voting can be read by clicking on the e-voting tab on your screen. Messrs. Nityanand Singh and Company Secretaries has been appointed as the scrutinizer for conducting the e-voting process in a fair and transparent manner. Mr. Nityanand Singh, representative of this firm, is present at the AGM through video conferencing. The decision of the scrutinizer will be final regarding the validity and including remote e-voting. The results of voting on the resolution shall be hosted on the website of the company on or before Thursday, August 18, 2022. As all the items of business as part of the notice of the AGM have been taken up, the e-voting is now open for 30 minutes. The proceedings of this meeting shall be closed thereafter. Thank you once again for joining us today. Be safe and take care. Thank you.